Hello, good evening. It's been 1,628 days since the Brexit referendum, 24 days to go until the end of transition. Tonight, still no trade deal, no sign of breakthrough. But for those seeking optimism, there is the promise of a face-to-face meeting between the PM and the EU Commission President. The idea that the key leaders would meet if there was no chance whatsoever is an odd one. Perhaps the meeting suggests they're closer than they're actually telling us, or perhaps not. Tonight, the PM asked his team to give him an overview of the problems, as if that were not yet clear. Well, we'll be looking at the economic and political implications both here and in Europe in a moment, but we start with the day's events and Nick Watt. So far today then, Nick, what's happened?
Well, Emily, in the last...
What is your sense of reaction from Brussels tonight then, Nick?
Well, they are not happy, and it's interesting, I understand...
...of it, that actually the more we talk about sovereignty, the more it sounds like we can't give up any of our power that is needed to do any bilateral trade deal. I mean, that's what you have to do. You have to invest in trust with another side. Very much. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So how did we get to this point in the negotiation, and who's had the upper hand at each stage? From the Irish border conundrum to the concept of the level playing field, Mark Urban has been talking to those who know Brussels, the team and its negotiating tactics inside out. You always said that ultimately you believed that no deal was the most likely opinion. Why?
Well, I think it's partly because...
It's always been basically a trade-off between sovereignty and free trade. And David Lidington just made the point that, you know, British governments have successively been too slow to talk about choices and trade-offs.
I think that's...
And that creates all sorts of concerns on the EU side about how you manage that divergence going forward. I think there might be a landing zone. The question is, can it be resolved in time?
Stephen, I was just flicking through. The Times calls the heading to Brussels a showdown, and The Guardian calls it an olive branch, I mean, which probably sort of sums up slightly where we are. Do you think this is just about face? Is it just about not... Stephen, I just want to go back to the sort of pattern of negotiation. Interesting hearing Harry say, you know, the Prime Minister's got a huge majority. He's not going to be led down a rabbit hole by one sector. But to some extent, I mean, we are where we are because of the power of a very strong rump of Brexiteers first time round from the ERG. Peter Mandelson argued at the weekend that the people's vote killed soft Brexit. Do you see it like that?
No, I mean, to be honest, and I have, a huge amount of...
Is this a harder Brexit, Harry, than most of the Conservative Party would have either anticipated or wished for? I mean, it was quite interesting just hearing Dan Hannan, and obviously he gave his reasons for saying he didn't know what Europe would have allowed, what EU would have allowed anyway. But a lot of people... Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in, Georgina. The first doses of the COVID vaccine have arrived here in the country. They'll be given to the early takers tomorrow, which is the kind of good news we've been longing to hear for 9 long months. But questions remain. How much difference will the vaccine make, and for how long? And will it still help those who've suffered the disease and recovered? Deb Cohen has this report. Deb Cohen reporting there. Well, the Department of Health told us the MHRA is a world leader in its field and followed rigorous international standards in its assessment of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. They added this has been a rigorous assessment with a rolling review starting in October as soon as data from the clinical trials became available. The MHRA also sought advice from independent experts from the Commission on Human Medicines before authorising the vaccine. No time for the papers, but they're all leading on the same story, that trip by Boris Johnson predicted for Wednesday to Brussels. That is all from us this evening. I'm back tomorrow. I hope you'll join us then. Bye-bye.